If you're not growing in any area of life, it's because you're not being honest. If you are not growing in any area of your life, pick an area of your life where you're stagnated, where you're not growing, it's because you're not being honest. All change begins with being honest. If you want to change, you have to be honest. All change begins with being honest. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with God, and you have to be honest with other people. If you're not willing to be honest with God and yourself and other people, you will not reach your greatest potential in life. And that is the purpose of your life, to reach your greatest potential. How intentional are you in being the best version of you? The best version of you. See, there are a multitude of versions of what you could end up like by the time your life is over. There are a multitude of them, a multitude of versions of what you could end up looking like when your life is over. The question is, what is the intentional version that you want and need to be? And are you making the decisions that you should be making to direct you toward fulfilling, toward becoming that version of yourself that you know, that you want to be deep down? Because if you're not intentional about your life, the life that happens to you, which is intentional, is going to cause you to end up as a version of yourself that you're not really satisfied with. In fact, more importantly, forget about you and forget about me for a moment. You could end up being a version of yourself that dissatisfies God. And if you end up being a version of yourself that dissatisfies God, it doesn't matter if you end up with a version of yourself that you're happy with. You could have just sold out. You could have compromised on what you could have been, what you would have been, had you been intentional about your life. If you are stuck, if you have stopped growing in any area of your life, it's because you have not been honest. All change begins with honesty. You've got to be willing to be honest with yourself about where you really are. If you're not willing to be honest about where you really are in the present tense, in your current situation in life, forget about thinking about the future, because you'll never be able to connect the dots from where you currently are to where you need and want to be. If you want to change, you have to be honest with yourself. And the degree of your honesty, listen, the degree of your honesty has a direct correlation with the degree of your transformation. The deeper your honesty, the greater the chances that you will be transformed, that you will change. If you're shallow, if you're only an inch deep, don't expect much transformation. Whatever area of life you're talking about, your relationships, your career, your financial area, of course, your spiritual life, your spiritual walk, that's the most important thing about you. A lot of people make the mistake these days. They think that I am what I look like. Listen, who you really are is not what the human eye can really see. Who you are physically in the natural realm, that's a reflection, dim as it might be, of who and what you really are. So the question is, in light of who you currently are, if you're willing to be honest, who are you going to be 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now?